company is Grow Global. I'm the author of Grow Fast, Grow Global, 6 Steps to Unstoppable International Growth in the Digital Age. I'm very excited to be here today at the Digital Business Island online optimization event. I'm going to talk about the untapped opportunities that are out there for businesses of all sizes, both selling products and services, and focusing on how best you can use these opportunities for international growth using digital channels. It's truer than ever that it's a very uncertain times, and managing a business through the pandemic and through Brexit can be super worrying. But if we take a moment to focus on the fact that the digital world is changing massively and is now completely mainstream, not an add-on. Moreover, the way the world does business is changing in more ways too. So as well as doing business in Ireland online, we should all be looking to new international markets that are further away. The current times can be used as a time to get our digital foundations in place, especially if you're in retail, ready for a digital Christmas. So what I'm going to do now is give you a rundown of what the digital world looks like right now and where perhaps you may want to focus your attention in the future. I'll then give you the best way I see to expand internationally online, looking at the best digital sales and marketing channels you need to avoid being invisible digitally. I'll share my formula from my book for getting unstoppable international growth and some hints and tips about how you may be able to go about doing that. Does that sound okay? Right, let's get started. So I'm sure, even though this is a virtual event, you'll all have your phones with you. So if you can take a minute to follow Digital Business Island on @digital IRE on LinkedIn and Twitter, and feel free to share anything you learned today with us and use the hashtag Grow Global. And you can also follow us at Grow Global and keep up to date with everything that's going on in the digital world. Right, let's get going. Now, we know that there's about 7.8 billion people in the world, with over 4.5 billion people online at the moment. So that's about 56% of the world's population that are actually online. Now, what you may not realize is that nearly half of those 4.5 billion people are actually in Asia, and only 750 million of them are actually in Europe. And a population the size of the USA came online just last year. So the digital world has already changed beyond belief, and the emphasis has already moved from west to east. Now, there are about two massive countries with the biggest number of internet users, and they are China and India. So the population of India is about 1.3 billion and China's about 1.4 billion. They're changing literally daily. So they reckon by 2027, India is actually going to overtake China in terms of population. And what we also need to know is that in China, only 60% of people are online, and in India, it's only 40%. So that although they're already the biggest countries online, not even everybody's online yet. So we're in for more absolute massive change. If we have a look at some of the other countries around the world, we've got the USA, which perhaps you'd expect as a digital country, and that's sort of where the dot-com boom started. And then you can see other countries with massive numbers of internet users like Brazil, Nigeria, Indonesia, Japan, and Russia. So you may not have thought about these as potential markets to do business in, but those are where our digital customers of the future actually are. So I think we need to all think about that, quite seriously. And there are also more customers with over 100 million internet users, some of which may be surprising as well. You've got Bangladesh, Mexico, Philippines, and Pakistan. When I did this, my first presentation of this data about 10 years ago, or it may even have been more, the top countries there included Germany, the UK, and France. But now you can see that they've mostly completely dropped off. The only one that's still up there is Germany. So we do need to think about where our future markets and customers are actually going to be. So on top of thinking about where our customers are, we need to look at the world of languages. Many of us speak English and we're sort of like getting away with it. But actually, if you look, most of the users on the internet don't actually speak English at all. And of course, they don't want their content in English either. So you may say that 1.2 billion English speakers is a big enough market for you. which is fair enough. But Mandarin Chinese is fast catching up English, but it hasn't quite made it yet. There's still 40% of users in the country, as I said earlier, that are still to come online. So we have to think that if we have our content out on social media, on our website or our e-marketplaces just in English, we're excluding all these other potential customers that we have in the world, say speaking Spanish, Arabic, Portuguese, Indonesian, Malay, and many other languages beside. So e-commerce and selling to end customers or retail customers gets most of the airtime when we're talking about e-commerce. So on average, e-commerce is now around 15% of retail sales worldwide. It's going to be interesting to see the pattern across the globe now after the year that we've had. And it's risen in the UK from 18% in February to about 25% now. So that's online sales as a proportion of total retail sales. It's hit over 15% in Ireland. It's dropping back a little bit as stores have reopened, but let's see what the rest of 2020 brings. So, you know, you're actually already becoming an advanced digital economy. And you have to think that in many other countries around the world, the number for retail sales as a percentage, online retail sales, the percentage of retail sales is only about 2%. So you've actually got the skills and the foundations to actually go and make this work, both at home and in international markets. Now, the other thing that we have to realize as well is that e-commerce in Asia Pacific is growing at 25% a year. So while our economies are like literally just ticking over, there is massive growth to be found further afield. And it may not be necessary, necessarily that easy to go out and, start working and selling our services and our products in these other international markets, but there's a lot of support out there you can get from advisors, whether they're banks, accountants, solicitors, Enterprise Ireland, and especially Digital Business Ireland now as well. So in the top countries that we're talking about for B2C sales, e-commerce sales, you've got China, the US, the UK, Japan, and France, according to UN figures. But can you see how massive China is from that? It's head and shoulders above every other nation in the whole world. We were at an Alibaba event in London just before the lockdown, and they were saying, they have Singles Days. It's like the 11th of the 11th. It's sort of like an anti-Valentine's Day, if you like, where people buy gifts for themselves. It's very sweet, but quite a marketing ploy. But anyway, during that time, there was 4 times as much sold on one single day in China than for the whole week of Cyber Monday and Black Friday in the US and the UK. So you have to understand the scale of this market. It's now over 50% of all consumer e-commerce sales are now taking place in China. So you may not choose to go to China, but if you could turn it around and find a way to take a piece of that action, I guess you'd do it. The USA is another massive market, as we can see here, where sales through Amazon is about 50% of all retail e-commerce. So you really need to be in it to win it, as they say. Things are changing in Japan and South Korea, where it's like completely mobile dominated. And there's even some more e-commerce countries there if you're interested in the rest of the top 10. So if we go to look now at the fastest growing B2C e-commerce markets, then we can see here that you've got Mexico, India, Philippines, and China, all with growth rates over 25%. So the potential is absolutely out there and is absolutely massive. We just need to find a way to plan and to get into those markets. These are all your international markets of the future, and hopefully not the too distant future. So we've talked a lot about B2C, and it does, as I've said, get a lot of the airtime. But Digital Business Ireland is all about all digital businesses, not just retail businesses. So business-to-business e-commerce applies to products and services. We work with solicitors, architects, engineers, as well as manufacturers who may sell to other businesses or directly to consumers, D2C. All sorts of people can secure contracts and get leads from abroad. The fact is that B2B e-commerce is actually much bigger than B2C, 6 times bigger actually. So where are those B2B e-commerce countries? Well, there's some familiar countries in this B2B lineup, but they're in a very different order. So the largest are USA, Japan, and these are all UN UNCTAD figures, followed by South Korea, China, and France. So you can see for yourselves here, definitely don't forget the B2B side of things at all. And we're talking today about the untapped opportunities for you in international growth. And if you want to sell your business within Ireland, then that's absolutely fine. It's a great thing to start doing. But then you can actually sell across all borders. And cross-border e-commerce globally is still growing at over 20% per year, and I'm sure there'll be some disruptions, but overall this is the predictions. So it can make a real difference to your bottom line if you can crack this and actually start selling internationally and growing globally using your digital channels that are available to you. So how are we going to do this then? Well, this is a very, very good question. So I've had a lot of experience working with all different businesses in all different sectors of all different sizes. So a couple of years ago, I wrote my book, Grow Fast, Grow Global, 6 Steps to Unstoppable International Growth in the Digital Age, which was looking at all the experience I'd had working with SMEs and why some companies had gone and actually made literally millions of pounds or euros using their digital strategies, and other people had done absolutely nothing. And what I have found is that you have to be world class before you grow globally. And what I mean by world class is that you have to have your digital presence being absolutely brilliant. It's got to be profitable, fit for purpose, and bringing in leads and sales online. Importantly, the messages you're giving out have to be absolutely spot on so people know what you're doing. Because if you're going to start going into different languages, different cultures, different countries, then that message can easily get messed up and easily misunderstood. So it's worth spending that time up front to make sure that you are world class and then start planning to move to growing globally. So I also want to explore, why was it working for some people and not for others? So people often ask me, they say, well, I've got a couple of thousands of euros and I'm going to spend it on digital, so what should I start doing? So they're like, should I post on Facebook? Should I do Google ads? Should I do Facebook ads? Should I do a blog, find an influencer? The list is endless. List on Amazon, build a website. Now, literally the $1 million question is, which ones will get you more online leads and sales? And this is the way that I look at it. There is a distinction between digital sales and digital marketing. And digital marketing is given a lot of airtime. So I've worked with sort of hundreds of businesses in different sectors, and what I've seen time and time and time again is that you really need to do 2 things. So the first one is your budget should be spent, first of all, getting your world-class digital sales platforms in place to allow you to actually earn the revenue. And then you need to implement a successful digital marketing campaign to drive those visitors to those digital sales platforms. Does that make sense? It may sound quite simple in a way, but getting your digital sales platforms up to scratch before investing in digital marketing really helps you to stop wasting both your time and money. It's a bit like a shop. If you just opened a shop but you didn't put any sales assistants in it, you didn't put any stock in there, and there was no way to pay, what would you do? There would be absolutely no point in doing that. So I've talked about the digital sales channels, and these are the 6 main digital sales channels that you can use online. I'll give you a quick introduction to them all. So your website, is really for generating leads, particularly if you're looking for B2B inquiries, and promoting a brand too. An e-commerce website allows you to sell to other customers and businesses and take the payment online. E-marketplaces are next, like Amazon and like the eBays of this world, and there are many, many more. S-commerce is selling on social commerce, so that would be like a Facebook shop or an Instagram shoppable post. And C-commerce is chat commerce, or sometimes called conversational commerce. This is really big news in China, where almost all of everyday and like business life can be carried out through WeChat, for example. So one of the quickest ways in a way, is to get a successful online presence, is to sell through local partners online. That would be like your stockists or your resellers or distributors in other countries who already have a good digital presence locally. Now, e-marketplaces are now over 50% of B2C sales globally. Then next is selling through a website of some sort. Now, while s-commerce or social commerce is growing from single digits and projected to grow over 30% a year, it's still quite small now. So it's worth investing your time to be ready for when this growth kicks in. Now, the secret to having a successful digital strategy is actually not putting your eggs all in one of these baskets, but making sure that you're using all of these online, or at least the ones that are applicable to your business. You need a balanced portfolio, so you're not really at the mercy of, say, Google or Amazon or any of the digital giants, and more importantly, their algorithms. Moreover, different channels will be important in different countries. And we don't know what's coming next. So everybody's got Alexas and, you know, these different voice assistants. So v-commerce or voice commerce may well be the next big thing. We need to keep nimble and up to date with the emerging tech. So next, we need to make sure that when we've got all of these digital channels up and available to us, are they going to be visible? If you put a website up, say, or a listing on Amazon, or put a post up on social media, for example, in all likelihood, you're going to be invisible in this crowded digital world when you first start off. So the facts of the matter are this, and this is quite sad when you think about it, but 90% of all website pages are not visited. This was a stat from Brighton SEO last year, and there are billions of products listed on e-marketplaces, but over half of them don't even sell a thing. And on social media, we know that there are like 2 billion users on Facebook and billions of users on Instagram and YouTube. So to get in front of all these millions of customers that we saw before, or at least the right ones from all those countries around the world, we need to make sure that we're visible on the global search engines, the global online marketplaces, and in global social media. So how do we do that? Well, once we've got these digital sales platforms up and visible, then we need to stand out and be visible through using these digital marketing channels. So here's 8 of the channels that I've actually seen work like really well for different clients, either in isolation or together. There's quite a lot of them. So as you can see, I could do a whole nother like presentation on all of these. But generally, it's best to say start doing one and get those going, but really you can't just rest on your laurels and just do one. It's the same as with the digital sales channels. You really do need to have a strategy where you start introducing all of them. And if you want proper like accelerated growth, then you do need to pay now for, say, Facebook ads or Google ads or even LinkedIn ads if you're B2B. The game has changed and you need to be doing that. It's not just good enough to, as we've been saying, to put your website or social media posts up or marketplace listings and expect the sales to come rolling in. Having said that, though, I would say that most of our clients still get most of their website traffic from SEO, which is search engine optimization. So don't let anyone tell you that getting your website visible, SEO, is dead. Now, if we imagine that we've all now got our world-class digital sales platforms in place and we've started our digital marketing to drive traffic to these digital sales platforms to try and get sales and revenue, and everything is like absolutely as good as it's going to get, world-class as I call it, then we can start to grow globally. Now, the reason I say that is you need to get as world-class as possible, because this is the crux of the matter to getting this unstoppable growth and fast growth. So once you've got your world-class sales platforms, you then need to copy, paste, and adjust, and then replicate what you've got what you've got working like in your domestic market, so that you can then move into all these different international markets. Now, the way that I look at this replication as being the key to international digital success is, imagine out of all those digital sales channels we've got, that you select 5, yeah? And say you, as you grow bigger, you select 5 world languages to put your content into and start selling. And say you pick over time 200 countries, well, then you're going to have 5,000 more opportunities to actually sell. So you wouldn't start off doing this for sure, but this is the potential. And this is where we say that there are so many untapped opportunities out there in the digital world. But imagine, even if you took just 10 combinations of those, you could imagine that you could grow tenfold, and how amazing that would be for your business. And I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying that it's quick, but with the right support, you can actually get there. So, what are the success factors? So, summing up, there are 6 factors that we found for customers and clients who are actually successful. So, the first one is to really go for those new markets and embrace all the new opportunities. Find out which ones are right for your business. And just because a competitor has gone there doesn't mean that it's right for you. Just because you know someone, say, in California, doesn't mean it's right to export to California. The next one is to think strategically. People just jump in generally. It's so easy to get a listing on Amazon. It's easy to set up a Shopify store these days. And people jump in without thinking it through and making sure that they are profitable. So it's no different really to business planning that you would do offline. So just make sure that you are thinking at every point with your digital business to be strategic and be careful in the steps that you take. The next one is being prepared to invest. You can't do all of this digital stuff now for no investment at all. If you're opening up a store, you would have to buy premises, get a lease, I don't know, employ a team, train people up, etc., etc. Digital is no different in that respect. You can't do this fast international growth on a complete shoestring, especially when you're going international and it becomes more complex. So do be prepared to invest in the future of your business. And next, I would say pick the winners. You don't have to export absolutely all of your products or deliver all of your services internationally. You've heard of the 80-20 rule? So 20% of your revenue generally comes from 80% of your products and services. So perhaps start with the 20% and actually get those out there first. We had an example of a guy who was running an accessories company, and their best-selling product was actually these big cushions, and the covers were absolutely gorgeous. And he was trying to ship those internationally. He's like, it's costing so much money. And I'm like, well, why don't you take the pillows, the stuffing bit out, which is the volume, and just sell the covers to the USA? So sometimes it's like you just need to think a little bit laterally about what you need to sell, whether you can adapt what you're selling, and how you're actually going to change it. So the other thing that we need to do as well is to localize. This is super important as we go international. It's almost like the biggest bit of what we need to do. So we need to ensure that we're selling, say, in local currencies. We've already talked a lot about the languages and having content and videos and blogs, etc., in other languages. Think about different payment methods. We need to think about delivery. How are we going to ship things if we're selling products all across the world? And there are literally like so many things that we need to think about, and there's a lot of technical things behind the scene as well. So you need to get the right team beside you, really, and the right blend of skills, because these days it's not really about being a generalist, a marketing generalist. It's about having deep skills. So for example, somebody who's a specialist in LinkedIn ads, for example, is going to be, say, very different from somebody who's brilliant at designing and developing, like, say, Shopify sites. So there are many experts around that can help you start on your journey, and don't be afraid to help. And of course, ask Digital Business Island. It's a great place to start. So the travel wrap company is one of the companies that I've worked with, and They have set up separate websites or little sub-websites for lots of different countries around the world, and their biggest success has been selling into the USA. They've put everything into dollars on there, and they actually do a landed price. So basically, the customers in the USA don't have to be worried about duties and things like that being put on. So originally they had a really old website by their own admission that wasn't really up to scratch, and so they replaced it with a beautiful multilingual, multi-currency Magento site, and you can see from this image that it's absolutely beautiful. So I would say this is perfectly world class. And yeah, and Neve's been doing very well, and once she got the digital sales platform up and running, then she has started to go and do a lot of Google ads, for example, particularly into the US, and Facebook ads. And that's how they've managed to then feed off the word of the mouth by actually getting an entry into that market in a digital way. So go and check them out. The wraps are absolutely gorgeous, especially for this time of year. And but look not only at the wraps, but also at how the website is laid out and how it caters for international. So it's 2020 now, right? And it is the digital age. Before, digital was really just a nice to have, but now it's an absolute necessity. You don't have, you're going to have to be doing digital and just not leave it as an add-on to your business. We've seen over the last few months what a critical part digital can have on like a business's ability to survive almost. And looking forward, we need to embrace all the untapped opportunities to sell across the digital world. And this will be able to help any business to thrive. So take the time now to get world class and grow globally. So I've talked about my book. So if anybody is interested and would like, we're going to give away 5 complimentary copies today for the first people that email us on hello@growglobal.com. Just pop an email to us, and then we'll get back to you to request your address where you'd like it shared to. And if you want to find out more about growing internationally and working with Grow Global, then we offer accelerators where we work with you on a monthly basis. We can work with you to get an international digital strategy, which is crucial at the moment. We do digital audits to get the quick wins and to improve the digital platforms like your website or say Amazon listings that you've already got. And we also do digital training. So we'd love to speak to you if you need to. Make moves and try to get your digital into better shape right now. Just email us for hello@growglobal.com again, and we can set up a discovery call for you. And here are our contact details. We'd love to link in with you, to get you onto Instagram, Twitter, whichever one. We're very digital, so yeah, wherever you'd like to connect with us, and any further help you need, just get in touch with us. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here, and I hope you've all enjoyed the day and that you're feeling super motivated to go out and improve your digital presence both in Ireland and internationally. Thank you very much for having me.